All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me for another pathfinding section. I trust you had a great time last section because I, for one, I listened to every section we hold here for two reasons. The first reason is so I can, because when I'm speaking, trust me, it's not that I am speaking, right? It's that I'm contemplating a lot of things, and going through last section, it was just mind-boggling. Second reason, I listen to it because I want to get blessed by it, and then secondly, I do it because I never want to remain at the same state, right? I just want to keep growing and make sure I am able to communicate these ideas to you articulately. Because people have this problem, most people do have this problem of, you can ask them why they're not able to take actions on some things they know they should, and one reason is that they know what it is, but they really don't know how to use words to articulate them. They don't know how to use words to articulate these ideas, and of course bet conviction that ultimately brings about action. But always, either ways, welcome to today's pathfinding section. My name is Olem Isaiah, and yes, you can call me the Pathfinder because it is literally my life assignment to help you. I really don't care what your situation right now is saying. I don't care where it is right now that you are in your life and your journey, your sojourn here on the earth. It is important you find your path, and I am here to help you do just that. And today, very, 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 very importantly, trust me, you want to get anybody you can find close by to you to come join you listening to this, because today's section promises to be nothing short of amazing. Because we're really going to be concentrating on why Pathfinder, right? That's what we do. That's what this is all about. It's about you finding your path. I speak to people a lot about the fact that, life is precarious and it's full of suffering, and the fact that you don't have to scrape too deep beneath the surface of a person's life to find a tragedy lurking, right, waiting to manifest. And if you're one of those people for whom that isn't true right now, well, it's most likely that there is somebody close to you who is having his or her own fair share of tragedy and suffering, right? And if it defies that, then all you have to do is wait. If you wait, sure enough, there is a tragedy lurking somewhere, and it's surely going to come up full of challenges. And somebody else put it this way. He said, life is full of problems. So the only occasional breaks we have in life are crises. So all you're going to have to go through about life when you're sojourning on this earth is from one problem to another, and your occasional break is going to be a crisis. Now the question there is, if it is that way that we can't escape these tragedies, this suffering, if it is that way that we have been put in this field to play, how best can we play? And that's exactly what I want to talk to us about, because in this field called life, in this pitch that we are on, we didn't choose to be here, right? And nobody was asked if he or she wants to be bettered. And the truth is, there are many people who are taking their lives. And what that means is, they are saying to whoever it was that put them on this earth that you didn't ask me, and it wouldn't have been my decision to come in the first place, because it is suffering all the way and I don't want to suffer. So that's why people take their lives. And you just think of that for a moment, right? So if people are taking their lives, that means people who are yet to come to the field to play, if they were to be asked, do you want to come? The most likely answer is many would come, but sure enough, many would say they don't want to come, because people are trying to escape from it all. And why should I take my chances to probably spend most of my time on the field suffering? And the truth is, that's not far from what every individual is contemplating on. Just that many people are very cowardice, right? They are they are dastard in a sense, because they don't have the guts, the audacity to attack this question. And those are very, very, I wouldn't want to use the word stupid individuals, because the truth is, if you don't attack this question, then all you're going to be doing is existing. If you don't attack this question of the purpose of life, all you're going to be doing is pretending your way through life. And that consequently means that you're not going to be authentic, you're not going to be genuine, you're not going to be true to yourself. And that would be the worst way to live on the earth, right? You wouldn't want to pretend your way all through life. You want to find a base, you want to find a point of applicability, an assurance point for you to bear the suffering. And that's exactly what I want us to talk about today. And it has to do with the mere fact that if life is suffering, then what will make this suffering worthwhile? And I'm not saying life is suffering in all aspects, right? There are beautiful aspects of life, and life is a gift. A gift. I don't know how that sounds, but it's truly a gift. It's a gift to be alive. It depends on how you use it and how you interpret it. Shakespeare puts it right. He said, nothing is either good or bad, but our thinking makes it so. Somebody said it this way. He said, there is nothing that is good, there is nothing that is bad. The way you interpret it makes it good or bad. Right. So we have different interpretations for life, different ideologies, and the truth is, there are many of us who would like to kick and keep this question aside, but we can't really. It's actually insane and amazing that you can't escape it. You know, there is this idea that people have that human beings have a conscience, right? And we know what that is. It's that little voice that it's in your head whenever you're doing something wrong and you know you shouldn't do it, but you go ahead and do it. And then, of course, what the little voice in your head was warning you about that was going to happen if you do what you just did, inevitably happens, and you feel stupid. And I mean, it could have just happened and you could have just, had no part to play in it. But now it told you this was going to happen and you let it happen, and now you're feeling far more stupider than you would have felt if you just didn't know and allowed it happen. That's willful blindness right there, right? You knew you could have kept away from it, but you just still did the stupid thing. And of course, what your conscience told you was going to happen inevitably happens, and you feel stupid and upbraid yourself about that. But down to it, here is the main part of our section today. Purpose. Life is suffering, and the only way you can bear this suffering is if you have a purpose for your life. And many people don't. Many people just exist. They don't know why they are on the face of the earth. I like to say this to everybody who is listening to me out there. I don't care where you are. I don't care what the situations around your life are telling you. I don't care who is speaking to you. I don't care how many people like you or how many people hate you. I don't care if you are educated or uneducated. There is a purpose for your life. There is a reason why you were vetted. There is a reason why you are placed on this earth right now, in that family, in that geography, in that situation, in that circumstance. There is a reason, and it's your duty to find it. Nobody is going to come bail you out. You are your backup. Trust me. You don't have anybody coming from nowhere to come help you. It is your duty. You might get people who help you. You might get people who love you enough to want to help you transit out of the suffering, or at least alleviate that suffering to a certain degree. But it's all dependent on you, because nobody is going to help you if you're not willing yourself to get out of it. That's a fundamental, irrefutable truth right there, right? So two cannot work together except they agree that there are two components for you to beget change. One of them is anger, and the second one is hunger. And necessity captures those two components, anger and hunger alike. So you need to get angry enough, and you need to get hungry enough if you're going to bet change. It all boils down to this, and that's the fact that you need a purpose for your life. You need to stop drifting as a young man. As a young woman, you need to stop living your life just the way you want to live it. I hear people saying, it's my life, I'm going to live it the way I want. Well, good luck with that. And the question I'm asking is, how has that worked for you thus far? And there are many of us who will hide behind the smiles of our little victories and say, well, at least I'm better than this one. I'm better than this other person. And we make stupid comparisons. And the truth is, you are not competing against anybody. Well, it's actually important that we juxtapose ourselves with other people to contrast and upgrade and accentuate ourselves. But then your main competition is yourself. You're not competing against your brothers, you're not competing against your sisters. As a country, you're not competing against another country. As a state, you're not competing against another state. As a government, your duty is not to compete against another government. Your duty is to be true to yourself. And the only way you can be true to yourself if you know what it means to be true. What is true for you, that's what can bring that into being, right? And the only thing that is true for you and the only thing that will keep you in the right frame where you can be true to yourself is if you have a purpose for your life, because that's going to be a reference point to judge, to mark yourself, because many people can try to mark you, but that has no effect. The only effect that is stipulated in your life is the effect that your own marking does to your marking script. And I made that very intentionally, because you're the person that is going to mark everything you're going to be doing on the face of the earth. And the one thing that is at the back of that sees to that is our conscience. And you know what that is, because there are many times where you fall short of what is expected of you. You do stupid things and you know that you're not supposed to do them. You go to a university that you know your parents can't afford, and you come out knowing that you knew before you went, and you were stupid enough to go on the basis of hope. And while that is not entirely wrong, it's important you think, and that's something that many humans don't do, right? They don't think. And it's important you start thinking. You don't go into situations if you haven't gone through them in your thinking. Somebody said that the purpose of thinking is to let your thoughts die instead of you. So you travel in your mind and you go into situations and you search for the loopholes, you search for the dead ends, you search for everything that is good and bad about that situation in your thoughts, and you let that die and tarnish instead of you going into it truly, holistically, bodily, right? So it's important you start thinking, and one thing that your thoughts are consequently going to bring for you is that life is intentional, and that if you're going to be intentional, and when I say life is intentional, I didn't mean that you intended for it to be, but then it's not a coincidence that you are here. It's not a mere coincidence that you are living in the world currently, right? So that was programmed. You can't tell who. I believe God did, and I'm a Christian by religion, and I believe it was the intent of God to make everything this way. But that's also true that He has intended it to be like that, and you need to pick up your own intent to know how to maximize your existence to better the situations of the whole and the entirety of humanity, right? So find a purpose for your life. I don't care how you do that, but here's what I would like to say to aid you in your quest for a purpose, because trust me, you can make a lot of money, you can meet a lot of people, you can do a lot of things, you can find a lot of things fun and enjoyable, but nobody claps for you for the same thing twice, right? And the truth is, we don't have the same experience. We don't have the same experience of the same things multiple times. Once you experience something once, the next time you're dealing with it based on your memory, right? So you're not really holistically having that experience. You're actually feeding your mind from your memory. I know that sounds confusing, but it's true. And that's because when you look at a picture and you see something, the next time when you look at that same picture, you're not really looking at the picture, you're looking at the picture you already saved in your mind. That's exactly what life is all about, and you want to find newer dimensions for your life, newer possibilities for your life. And the one way you can get that is through a purpose. And what is a purpose? A purpose is simply the reason for an existence. So what's the reason for your existence, you may ask? Well, I don't know, and I can't tell you that. And how can you then find out? You need to be intentional. You need to wake up and sit down on your bed one day and ask yourself, what is it that I am meant to do? How is it that I can do what I can where I am with what I have? What is the purpose of my life? And you don't just ask that question arbitrarily. You need to want to know. You ask the question as someone who wants to know, because it doesn't help to just ask the question. You want to know. You want to search your soul, so to speak, and find out. You want to be the kind of person who will stare into the abyss and find out and dare anything to its face to find out what exactly I am here to do as a person, as a human. And that's not an easy task to give you, but there is no other better alternative. The alternative to that sounds something like this: that you wake up every day doing many things, maybe prosaic, banal, monotonous life, day-to-day activity, and well, you do that long enough until you can't do them anymore. Now that's the only other alternative to finding your purpose and living intentionally. And you don't want to take the second option, because it's not something that I would advise even my enemy to employ. It's not a life that anybody deserves. So you want to go with the first option, which is finding your purpose, finding the reason for which you exist, and figuring out the way to make that work for you. Because I can tell you tips, I can give you instances, I can set principles, I can stipulate goals for you, but the only one thing that you can be true about is what you have felt, because you can't trust anything until it's been tested. You cannot trust anything until it's been tested. And that's true, because, well, that's life, and you don't trust people until you test them. Somebody suggests that to know who your best friend is, tells them all. And the one who comes through and passes your test, then that one person is the person that is your best friend. Right. So find the purpose for your life. Stop living a banal, prosaic, monotonous, day-to-day lifestyle. Stop it. Life is precious. It's filled with suffering. It's tainted with malevolence. And well, we want to make the best use of what we can with it. And trust me, your purpose is what is going to fulfill you, because when it's all said and done, more would have been said than done. Many people are talkers, but they're not doers. They do only when they feel right to do. But you don't want to be that person. So sit up on your bed one day and ask yourself, I bet and I dare you to do with that tomorrow, or maybe this night. Once you get this message from me, do that. Sit on your bed and ask yourself, what is the purpose for my life? And then what begins to happen is that you find out that with that purpose comes the importance to discipline yourself, because all things being permissible, not all things are suitable for what you're supposed to do. So you're going to find out that there are disciplines that need to be employed. There are things you need to know, and then life becomes bearable and you begin to survive. Notice I didn't say thrive, I said survive, because the truth is that's our aim. Survival is living, and every other thing I don't know what it is, but survival is living. Your goal is to survive. You can't make a goal to thrive, because you don't even know what that means, right? You don't know what it means to thrive. We don't know what it means to thrive as humans. We can improve, we can develop, we can increase, we can better, but we don't know what it means to thrive, because we don't know if we're making the world as it is a better place or if we're making it worse. That's because you can't know the source or the use of a product from the product. The only person who can tell you the use of the product is the manufacturer. And we as humans, we did not manufacture this. We met it here. And we are products also from an ultimate manufacturer. who many of us are still elusive about. But I trust it's God, and you want to join me on that belief, right? So get a purpose for your life and start living intentional. Start living intendedly. Stop drifting. Stop loafing about, and get a purpose for your life. And what will happen is that, of course, there are many people who will start or want to start joining you on that journey after you found your purpose, because there are some visions and purposes that are given to us as humans to fulfill, and we can't necessarily do them on our own. So we need to gather day to day, year to year, many people, or supposedly and most yearningly, the purpose attracts its executioners, right? Well, if that happens, then great for you. But if it doesn't happen, then it's your duty to find who you need and execute that purpose. Because if that doesn't happen, not everybody fails, but you failed. And you failed everybody. That's exactly what you want to understand. So find a purpose for your life and start living intentionally from now. If this content was helpful to you, I beckon on you to subscribe to the channel and try to share this to as many as you can see and find, and let them understand that it's important that they start living purposeful lives. So subscribe to the channel if you're new. Don't go nowhere, because we're going to be having newer contents that are going to be touching and expounding on this Pathfinder. That's me, and what I'm here to do is help you find your path. Thank you. Do stay blessed. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.